Okay, welcome back to Science 10. If you're watching this video, you have chosen to do the second acceleration lab, acceleration part 2. And it's very similar to the previous one, except with a little bit of a twist. So once again, to predict what the distance versus time and speed versus time graphs look like for uniform acceleration. And we're making a prediction for distance, time, and speed time like before. The only twist here is what we're going to be doing. Same material, motion detector, the weight, the iPad, the 2x4, except this time you're going to start at the bottom. And as best you can, push the weight up so it comes up the ramp a little bit, then turns around and comes back down right to the starting point. So, as you recall in the previous lab, we started here, released it, it just went down. With this, part 2, we're starting at the bottom. Push it so it goes up by its own power, and then turns around and comes back down. Okay, so don't push it with your hand all the way up. Just give it a nice big push at the bottom so it goes up a little bit, then comes back down. So, predict what those graphs will look like. The distance time and the speed time graph would look like for that motion. Tricky. You have to really think about that one. Background, describe how the speed of the weight will change in this experiment. So, by starting at the bottom, just describe what you think will happen there. What will happen to the speed, or how do you describe what's happening to that weight when you do this procedure here by pushing at the bottom, having it go up a bit, then come back down. And the second part here is very similar to the acceleration part 1. Write down what the actual distance time graph looks like, sketch what the actual speed time graph looks like. In the conclusion, of course, we're going to see what result you have. So what were you going to do? The purpose was to, once again, go back, fill it in. What did you think would happen? It was thought that, so describe your predictions here. Describe what you thought would happen here in terms of distance and time, and speed versus time. And then what did happen? So describe the graphs that you actually got. Was your guess close, or were you completely off? That's where you'll discuss that. And then the follow-up questions here, I have 2 of them. Number 1, does the speed of the weight change throughout the experiment? Explain why or why not. So if it does, then you have to explain why. If you think no, then explain why. And then 2, does the acceleration of the weight change throughout the experiment? Why or why not? So once again, yes or no, and then tell me a reason why. So very similar to the first acceleration lab, except this one has a little bit of a twist in terms of how you perform the experiment.